Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my show. I really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe. You guys know, if you're watching News Nation, I'm actually on this road trip right now. I'm traveling around the country in an RV. I'm in Philadelphia right now. I was in Kensington, which is a neighborhood in Philly that's notorious for crime and is known to be the country's largest open-air drug market. And it's insane. I mean, I have done crime stories all over the country. When I went to Kensington today, I'm not sure I've seen anything quite like that in a while. And I'm gonna dig into it. Apparently it's not fentanyl anymore, I learned today. That's the drug of choice. It's actually these tranquilizers. I'll explain everything I learned in this episode of Brian Entin Investigates. Hey guys, so I mentioned the RV. I'm in the RV right now. We're driving across the country. I'm doing this road trip for News Nation ahead of the election, visiting a bunch of places in America, talking to voters, but it was really disturbing what I saw in Kensington, which is that neighborhood in Philadelphia. This is Mo, by the way. Cameraman Mo back there. I'm actually gonna get up front. Henry's here driving. Put my seatbelt on. I think we're probably technically supposed to not be sitting in the back, but I'm not really sure. But in Kensington, you know, I had been there several years ago for a story, and people there were telling me that they think it's gotten a little better. I really feel like it looked worse to me. And I hate to use the word zombies, but it's like just zombies kind of walking around just in like a drug coma. And it's apparently not fentanyl anymore. It's tranquilizer, like veterinary medicine, which I'm going to get to later in this episode. I'm going to explain all that. But first, I just want to show you some raw video. Do you have your glasses, Mo?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you guys. I wore Mo's Meta glasses. Mo got these bad boys. And so they have a camera on them. And basically, I wore them just to kind of show what it's like to walk through Kensington. And honestly, I edited out some of the video just because like there were a few shots where just like people were just passed out on the sidewalk, and they were alive for sure because I like looked, but it just, I don't know, some of it just felt inappropriate to show because, I don't know, just people were just totally out of it, like just laying there. They looked dead, but they weren't dead. So some of the stuff I edited out, but I think you'll still get a vibe for what it was like in Kensington, what they call America's biggest open-air drug market. Look at this. Needles all over the ground here. Hey, where are you at? All right, bye. This episode is sponsored by Opus Clip. You guys know I'm working so hard on the podcast. I'm traveling every week for News Nation. It's really, really hard to find the time to make shorter clips of my episodes, the shorter clips for platforms like TikTok and YouTube Shorts, Instagram, all those social media sites. I've been using a platform called Opus Clip. It is an all-in-one AI editor. It makes it easier and faster to cut, create, and upload videos across all social media platforms. It is so easy. Through the power of AI, Opus Clip, it automatically generates B-roll, it cleans up audio, and it reframes your videos for any platform. It saves you so much time. I've been using it, again, for all of my videos on TikTok, for my YouTube Shorts, for Instagram, and it's so easy to start using. All you have to do is go to opus.pro/Brian, sign up, and then upload a video. In just a few minutes, you'll have tons of perfectly edited clips ready to go. It literally just takes a couple of minutes and it has all the clips there for you. Whether you're making videos for TikTok, Shorts, or Instagram Reels, Opus Clip is your one-stop shop for getting your best content seen by more viewers across all of these platforms with literally just the press of just one button. And if you're wondering how good the AI videos are from Opus Clip, just check out my YouTube Shorts or check out my TikTok. I've been using Opus Clip to edit all the videos lately. Having a tool like Opus Clip means I can get you even more videos fast. At Brian Entin Investigates, we know that our listeners have a lot of opinions and ideas to share, and this is the most powerful tool there is to help you edit like a pro and grow your own audience. So give it a try for yourself. Go to opus.pro/Brian to start creating your own videos today. So really disturbing to see all of that. I met with a woman named Roz Pichardo, who is sort of like a community activist. I met her several years ago. She actually, last time I met her, she was just walking around that part of the city with a tourniquet, like saving gunshot victims on her own. Now she has her own storefront where she provides assistance to people in that area. She helps people having overdoses several a day. She was telling me that she has Narcan. Literally people just come in having overdoses. But she was explaining to me how the drug situation has changed and in many ways gotten worse.
I think the last time we talked, this drug supply wasn't this bad. I think it was just
so there's more
fentanyl.
More drugs now?
Oh yeah, so it's fentanyl, metamethadone, and Xylazine. They're both animal tranquilizer. It's not even made for human consumption.
How do they get it?
It's, I don't know, it's like an animal tranquilizer, probably from a vet or something.
And they sell it out on the street?
They sell it out on the street.
Is that as common as fentanyl?
Yeah, it's in everything.
Wow.
It's in everything. So the Xylazine was the drug that was causing the wounds. The metamethadone is causing a lot of other stuff, but we're seeing a lot less wounds now with more metamethadone and less Xylazine.
Gosh.
So I know it's
That's
pretty
crazy.
bad. And what we also seen in the current drug supply is so a mixture of metamethadone, Xylazine, fentanyl, rat poison. So it's like you're cutting the stuff, and this is what's so scary about this. So this current, when you talk about drug busts and how do you connect and talk to people before you're doing this big raid, right? These hospitals, I'm sure, is inundated with people taking substances that they're not even sure what it is. So when you raid a big block, everybody's on hold, right? Everybody around that block. So now other dealers are scrambling to, we got to get product out. So now they're adding their supply and then they're cutting it with other stuff because they need to make it look like it's more product. And then now you're tainting the drug supply even worse with some other shit, which is what we've seen recently with the rat poison. And of course, no one will give us any numbers about what the ER looks like. They're like, oh no, we're not.
They won't give the
Oh
numbers?
no, they won't even tell us like
Why
what's
not?
happening.
Because you think it's worse than they
Oh
want to let
yeah,
on?
yeah, yeah.
So they don't want to.
Complications of rat poison, all of this stuff that's not even made for human consumption. So,
That's scary.
oh, it is scary, but we want to stop the dealers, but we also want to make sure that people get a heads up on what's going to happen in the ERs that are surrounding the the largest open air drug market in the country.
I'm joined now by Sarah Laurel. She's with Savage Sisters, doing a lot of really good things in Kensington, trying to help people. Um, Sarah, the first thing I wanted to ask you, and I was just there kind of walking through the neighborhood, and I guess as an outsider, I always thought like fentanyl was the main issue, but I keep hearing about, I think is it Xylazine, which is it a tranquilizer? I wanted to see if you could kind of explain that a little bit.
Absolutely. So, in the Philadelphia current dope supply, and I use that term loosely, there is a substance called xylazine and also medetomidine. Both of those are animal grade tranquilizers.
So, and again, forgive my like ignorance to some of this stuff, but when you say tranquilizer, like that's what they're giving actual like pets or horses, or do you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So they are used by veterinary doctors to put animals down for surgery. So they sedate them for about 30 minutes and then they're groggy for 1 to 4 hours. That is the substance. Both xylazine and medetomidine are used in those practices and are now they are in the Philadelphia drug supply. Xylazine has been detected in all states, including Hawaii as well.
So how is it getting into Philly and into Kensington? Do you know?
So there's two ways that it could be. It is in the illicit drug supply. It can be happening stateside, locally, which we know some of the adulteration does happen here. And in addition to that, it can be happening before it gets here. So we have a lot of different things in each substance that we test, and Savage Sisters does street drug checking. And so you really can't differentiate whether it came that way or it was adulterated in Philly. We assume, based on certain things, that a large amount of it is being adulterated here locally.
So when you're walking around and you see people who look, I mean, people use the term like zombie, but kind of out of it, is that because of these tranquilizers?
Yeah, so we don't like to call our friends zombies because
Yeah,
it's
makes
kind of
sense.
a stigmatizing term and we love them and we want to serve them. It's a tranquilizer, so it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do and it is putting them to sleep sometimes. It complicates the reversals a bit. We still administer naloxone because the majority of the substances we've tested still have fentanyl in them. And then we support the respiratory system for the tranquilizer that is present, but it does lower their heart rate, and affect the respiratory system significantly.
And how does it, I heard when I was out there that it connects back to these wounds that you see that people have. What's the connection there?
So xylazine causes something called vasoconstriction, and that just means smaller, dilation is bigger. And so it's a little bit harder for our friends to get an open wound to scab. So if they get a basic cut or a scrape and they're consuming a vasoconstrictor consistently, it's going to take a little bit longer for that wound to scab, and any unscabbed wound is an ulcer. And without access to running water, showers, toilets, things like that, it's really easy to get an open wound infected, and then it continues to grow.
So are you able to help people with that when that happens?
We try to. We wrap their wounds, we distribute wound care supplies, and we encourage them to try and keep those wounds as clean as possible and get them access to shelters locally, and linked to care because being on the street in this current climate, with potentially having open wounds can definitely cause serious complications.
So I know this is, I mean, this is a really open-ended question, but I know it's been a problem there for a long time, but like, how do we, I mean, you're obviously helping to fix the problem, but big picture, like, what do we all need to be doing? What does Philadelphia need to be doing to, start to make this situation better?
I think increasing access to low barrier housing would be the first thing to help. The problem right now, I think, is everybody deserves running water. They deserve access to bathrooms and showers. And that in itself, that very basic human need would lower the risk of, those wounds increasing and the ulcers getting infected. Housing is very important. Everybody should be sheltered, and we don't have a huge priority on that right now. And so I think if we could invest a little bit of wealth into prioritizing the safety of the individuals that we're serving currently in Kensington.
Do the police help?
That's a bit of a loaded question. I think that unfairly, the Philadelphia police have been burdened with the task of doing social work. And I think that since our community currently is backing away from some of the public health and harm reduction resources that it invested in for years, that work is falling on the shoulders of police officers, and it shouldn't. I have seen both sides of the coin. I've seen police officers be really frustrated with the task of having to move individuals and address public health crises, and I've seen them be very helpful and responsive. It just depends on the situation.
Yeah, when I was down there, I didn't really see very many police right there on the main drag. I mean, do they come through?
The police presence in Kensington is always there. It's,
Okay,
I would say they're typically present. They are there.
okay. So not helping much, you don't think?
I don't think that there's much they can do in regards to providing certain services. And given the new law that just banned mobile outreaches and the limiting financial investment into these, social services and harm reduction organizations, their hands are tied in certain situations. I think people like Savage Sisters and the other great organizations down there should be able to be on the ground providing linkage to care, and that has been limited significantly in the past year by our current administration in Philly
Are you overwhelmed?
every day. Every day. But we just keep showing up. We keep the light on. We keep showing up. We do what we can. And we show up for our friends because they need us. And every human being that we serve is worth saving. And they deserve all the supplies that we can get for them and the love that we can meet them with.
So I'm just trying to understand what will happen without being able to provide that care to them. And I imagine this is a bigger problem than just Kensington because these same people could just go to a different area, right?
Yes, and we've seen that whenever there's pushback in one area, it just changes a geographic location and puts, these issues on another community. I think that to be very, you know, upfront, there's going to be a lot of death and displacement and trauma to both the housed and unhoused community. I think the hospitals will be overburdened, and I don't think anything good comes from pulling resources to our most vulnerable.
How big of a component are the hospitals? I mean, do a lot of these people end up at the hospital? Do they help them at the hospital?
I think we have great hospital systems in Philadelphia that are aware of what's happening with the drug supply or try to stay as current as possible and treat individuals with some compassion and humanity. But I think that they are also serving the 1.7 million Philadelphians. So there is a need for access to more urgent care, more wound care, and things like that, so that our friends don't need to be in an emergency room for those types of medical resources.
Yeah, because someone was telling me out there that the hospitals, and I don't know what you think about this, but that they're not always transparent about what they're seeing, about reporting like what's the new drugs on the street, that kind of thing.
To who? To the patients?
or just to the citizens, to the community that they don't know exactly, you know what I mean? They don't report the numbers accurately, I guess.
Well, so hospitals don't test for xylazine and medetomidine, which I find interesting. In fact, we created business cards about 6 years ago that said, test me for xylazine because nobody was testing humans for it. So there's definitely a 5 year lag in being able to be proactive with medical research and response. And we still to this day do not test for tranquilizers when people go into treatment or hospitals. So there's definitely a delay there. There's always going to be concerns around the way that they're treating certain individuals, and are they dealing with the urgent need of saving a limb, or the important one of addressing substance use. And so that can be a conflicting concern when you're dealing with the hospitals locally. And we have certain hospitals that we favor because we know that their staff is going to be transparent and compassionate. And there are others that we know don't have a reputation for that.
Why has the xylazine become so popular? Do you know? With
So I have
people in
a
that,
2 hour training to talk about that. So I'm going to try and keep it brief. I
sure.
wouldn't say that it's popular. I think for individuals that purchase substances from the illicit drug supply, you get what you get and you don't get upset. We don't often have a say in what substances are going to be in that supply at that time. You can't have a conversation with your dealer when purchasing and say, hey, what did you guys put in it this time? So when it first came into the supply, and we started seeing that trend, I don't think many people were aware of its presence. And then it started increasing and it became much less fentanyl and a majority tranquilizer. And by that time, people were chemically dependent and they were seeking it out.
So have you seen a change in the way people are acting when it kind of transferred from just fentanyl to tranquilizer? Like, is it something you're able to notice?
Absolutely.
Like, it
So
looks totally different.
it's very different. The acute withdrawal stages are different. The behaviors when they're consuming it are different. I'm in long-term recovery. I was an IV user before Trank, and so I've seen a transition for each different phase. So I've seen when fentanyl came in with heroin, when fentanyl dominated, then xylazine, when xylazine dominated, and now medetomidine coming in and beginning to dominate. In our last tracking that we shared publicly, we had about 78% of the samples had medetomidine and only 28 had xylazine. So this new animal tranquilizer, medetomidine, which is more potent, has some very different acute withdrawal symptoms, including potential acute psychosis, which is interesting. And we see people having body tremors and things like that. So we've noticed it in the way that our friends respond when they go without, when they're in withdrawal, and when they experience an overdose, that we have learned how to respond to.
Yeah, and I hear you calling them friends, and obviously you have to be, they're humans. I mean, I know people come down there and treat them like they're non-human, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so I want to be respectful in the way I ask questions, but at the same time, I'm just, there are things that I don't know. Like, I was wondering when I was down there, a lot of the people look homeless, obviously, like they live on the street. How do they afford the drugs day in and day out?
You'd have to ask them.
Yeah, I mean, do you
Everybody
know?
has a different, everybody
Yeah.
has a different way to obtain money. And something that many people forget about when they think of Kensington is that there is a huge sex market down there as well as a drug market. So that's one means. Other people work. You know, some people work, they're day laborers and, or they have other ways to make money, but they manage to do it.
And then, sorry, what were you gonna say?
Well, and also, I know that there is, about 1,000 people that are unhoused in Kensington, but a large majority of the people that procure their substances, they cop and roll. They come to Kensington, they grab what they need, and they leave.
Okay.
The majority of the business that's really, fueling that drug market is not individuals that are living there on the sidewalk.
Do you ever, I mean, you're there so much. Do you ever talk to the drug dealers? Like, have you ever had exchanges with them?
Yeah, I lived on a dope set.
And
They're great.
and yeah, what do they think about all of this?
About the substance, like the drug changes.
Yes, yes, yeah.
This is just supply and demand. The more that there is pressure from the top, from let's say the government against one substance, the criminal drug market is going to seek out different substances that will give off a similar feeling for the people that they're serving. It's supply and demand. So they are invested in learning, are their customers happy with their supply? But a lot of the people that are on the ground in Kensington, they're not the ones that are providing the supply specifically. But they are interested. They ask us often, what's in this? I think a lot of people are interested because it has been such a volatile drug supply over the past decade.
In trank tourism, what is that?
Um, so that is there's a boom in the media about Kensington and Tranquilizer because it is so visually difficult to witness, and people, it's almost like watching a car crash. They are obsessed with seeing people in really dark places. And so, unfortunately, we've had a lot of people come and exploit the community and the people that are struggling openly and turn it into television and YouTubers and, TikTokers, and they make a ton of money exploiting people in their most vulnerable situations.
Yeah, and I got some video, but I was just telling my producer, like, I just feel weird. I'm not going to use the videos where, I mean, you see people laying on the street that are, I mean, they're not dead because you look up close and that, but there's just something uncomfortable about seeing that. You know what I mean?
Yes, it can be difficult to watch. Seeing other humans in pain and in distress is not a good feeling. It's not enjoyable to me. I do understand why people are fascinated because it is a very, when you come to Kensington, if you've never experienced it, it's an affront to the senses because how it's hard to believe that in a first world country, we have communities that are living like this. I think it's important that we talk about it and we bring resources, but I don't think we need to exploit individuals, in those positions because it's just unfair.
What keeps you going? Because the way you describe it, it's like the drug dealers, the market will evolve and change based on what, I mean, it seems like it never ends. And the solutions are so complicated. Like, I mean, what keeps you in the fight?
Um, Well, I love people who use substances, and it's never been a question of whether or not they deserve resources to me. And we're small, we're a tiny little organization doing work in a tiny portion of a small city. And so I try to stay really focused on that and relevant to my community and how I can serve my community. And I try not to kind of get too big and think, what's happening globally. I stay close. We have an amazing team that works really hard, and we will keep showing up as the need is there as much as we can. I don't think that you can just throw your hat in and be like, okay, I'm done now. When you know that there are people that you love and you want to help, you're not going to just give up on them.
How can people help you if they're watching this?
They can, if they're from Philly, come serve with us. We love having volunteers come out with us. We have an office in South Philly and we do 13 outreaches per week. And we serve all over. And you can donate to the cause at savagesisters.org, or you can send some of our items from our Amazon wish list, which is on all of our social media outlets. We're on all of them. So, Savage Sisters, follow us, like us, donate, send us some stuff to give to our friends, or come serve beside us.